Hey, great evening, everybody. Welcome to the MOY with Dr. Vaughn. That is the MOY of you, where we own our story and we walk boldly in our authenticity. So, listen, I'm super excited to come to you and celebrate. So, if you have not already done so, come on in the room, say hello, like and share, tell your good girlfriends, your cousins, all of them. Just come on, let's have a chat tonight. I am super excited about my guest tonight. And listen, you already know this particular platform is just for us to authentically talk about our journeys, to authentically talk about uh, the different things that we have to go through. And listen, tonight's topic is be and becoming, because you do understand sometimes you got to do both of them at the same time. And then sometimes you're doing one and sometimes you're doing the other, depending on your life. Hey, Melissa. So we have an amazing guest. Listen, she's an artist, she's a creative, she's a mom, she's a coach. Listen, if you've encountered her, you already know she's your real girl, your sister girl. She's gonna tell you like it is, but also she's gonna tell you about her own story. And so, hey D. And so, as we're coming in, I want you to help me celebrate and welcome Coach Lesley to the stage.
Hey,
Hey,
hey.
how are you?
All is well. All is well.
Absolutely. And so on this platform, as we already let Coach Lesley know, we came to actually share. We came to give some tools. We came to share experiences, share testimonies. This is not just about venting, but this to actually tell you how to get to, address, and overcome. And so I am celebrating her. I'm celebrating all that she is doing. And so we're just going to have a conversation tonight. So we're going to hop right on in, because Coach Lesley, I oftentimes hear you use the word be. So I want you to tell the people how that came about for you.
First of all, thank you for this opportunity to
Mhm.
share. I am honored to be in this space with you. So about so let's say in 2020, no, let me go back a little further. The year 2000, I left my home church, Bethel Temple Church of Christ, Highway Church of Christ. That's where I grew up in Baltimore. And I didn't leave church because anything happened. Nobody said anything. I kind of left very quietly. And I went to sit home. I just didn't feel I was in search of something or nothing, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
If there was more, I wanted it. If there wasn't, I was done. Right. And I ended up getting invited to Kingdom Worship Center in Towson, Maryland. Bishop Ralph Dennis was the pastor at the time. His son Greg is the bishop now. And I did not want to go there because Bishop Dennis can preach 2 hours without breaking a sweat, right? Hands down. But I was invited by one of my sister friends who was there, and I went there, and it just felt like water just washed over me. And in that service, he said, I be who God says I be. I
Mm,
be it now and nothing else.
mm,
Now, that wasn't the first time he said it, of course. He had said it before, but it was the first time I heard it. And it sparked something in me. I didn't know what that was. What I learned is I had no idea who I was. I
mm,
was functioning. By this time, I had become a mother. And before becoming a mother, I was just in church doing whatever church needed me to do, but I had no identity. I did not know who I was. Yes, I had been singing, but was I only a song? Was I only a gift?
mm.
No, it had to be more to life than that. Then I became a mom. That gave me purpose, being a mom. So here I am with this teenage son, preteen son, and it's like, what am I doing? And just walking out who God has innately told me that I am. That didn't come from the outside. Yes, I've had a lot of prophecies. I've had a lot of people speak things to me about me, but it only matters what I understand that God has made me. So that's what the being is. That's what being and becoming mean to me. It's just walking out who God says I really am.
Got you. So here, when you talk about being, becoming, walking out who I am, understanding there's more to what I am now, but how do I authentically embrace the me when the me don't look like what they said the me would be?
The first thing you have to do is take inventory of yourself. You have to assess yourself, the good, the different, and the whatever else. You really have to take inventory and be honest with yourself. It's almost like standing in front of your mirror naked and just looking at who you are right in that moment. Who am I right here? After you stop crying and get past that, how do I get to where I see myself? How do I get to see to the part where I see myself on a stage in another country singing before 10,000 people? How do I get to that? What needs to be assessed and worked on right here? Because this is all good stuff, the good, the different, and the whatever. How do I make this beautiful mess work? It's practical. And I think that's what I was searching for. I was looking for the practical ways. People was telling me what, they weren't telling me how.
That's good.
And I needed to find out how.
Yeah. And most of us get stuck in the what, because we've mastered the what. I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, I'm going to be this, I'm going to go here, I'm going to acquire this, I'm going to do this, and I'm celebrating the what. I mean, I'm all on the high of the what, but the journey to the what
Mhm,
is what becomes distressing. The journey to the what is what becomes the concern. The journey to the what is where it gets lonely, because now my what may not look like your what.
mhm,
So, how do I embrace my journey of the how when you only told me what it was going to be? And so that whole process to that, I got to embrace my how. Many people don't tell you how,
mhm.
because the truth of the matter is we've gotten so consumed with the what, many people don't even know how.
Absolutely.
We've gotten infatuated with the what has become famous. The what has become, uh we've become intoxicated with the what. So if you prophesied to me and told me that I was going to be a millionaire, I was going to be an apostle, I was going to be a prophet, I was going to be a pastor, I am so consumed with getting the what
Mhm,
that I have missed the opportunity to grow through
mhm.
my how I get to the what. Pastor Shelley just put it in there. My journey to the what. Like,
Yeah.
I am so consumed with the what that I am missing.
Mhm,
I'm missing the components that I grow through the how. Because I
mm,
don't grow in the what, I grow through the how.
mhm.
The what is the manifestation of the growth of the how.
Yes.
That was so profound that you said it, because we have gotten stuck
We've become
on.
performative.
Oh yes.
I mean, it's everybody stand up, clap your hands, raise your
Mhm.
hands,
Uh-huh.
hit the floor right now. Come up here, hit the floor. All that's performative. When
Mm-hmm.
we walk out of those doors, that's where the journey continues.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn how, and I'm going to be extremely transparent in this moment. It had gotten to the point where my choir would be in the choir stand on Sundays, and we always had a good time when we ministered.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dance for days. But there would literally be myself and two other people, I won't name them. We would be on the floor on our faces, crying out to God, not being able to explain what the shift in us was that was so different from what was going on around us. And I
Mm-hmm.
will say, all three of us are in completely different places in God right now. But that led to my exodus from church, because if I'm laying on my face in here and I walk out these doors and I'm a whole different thing,
Mm.
that's not real.
Not
That's
real.
That's not real. I cannot be somebody different in here than who I am outside. I had to find it. And that's where the self-assessment started. I didn't even know that's what I was doing, but I was
Mm,
taking inventory of myself. What was I accepting? What were my thought processes? What did I feel about myself? Where was the affirmation lacking in my life? And I found all of those things outside of the church doors in my own private time amongst my real circle of friends and
mhm,
my family. It did not come across the pulpit. But what happened was when I would go back into the church setting, the word was landing differently because I was growing, because
mhm,
I had become more vulnerable
mm,
to the spirit, not just in a building for a performative act, but in the spirit in my everyday life.
mhm.
That's where it gets good. So I had to learn to enjoy the journey. I enjoy growing.
Yeah, yeah. But you said something. You said it got to have somewhere to land.
Has
Here's
to.
the problem that we're having. We're going because we're so intoxicated with church. We're so intoxicated with the praise break. We're so intoxicated with the emotionalism that we have forgotten that that self work has to be done at home, so that when you do get in the building, it got somewhere to land.
Yes.
Because if the foundation is cracked and we're pouring on it, it can't sit on it. It's going to seep through. It's going to go all over the place. And so I love that when you said it, it had to have somewhere to land. It had to be personal work at home. One of the things I do with my mentees is called mirror time. They
Mm,
don't like it, but it's very beneficial. What does that mean? Because sometimes that means I have to deal with when I go to the mirror and what I see, I may see the wounded little girl making adult decisions.
mhm,
And so, what do I have to do at that point now in a part of my journey is to work on her so that when I get in his presence, I have enough landing for him to rest on me.
mhm,
And it's like you said, what are we doing at home? What
mhm,
work am I doing on my own? Because the journey to just be who you are, it's organic, but it take work.
mhm,
The real you is organic, but you still got to work through some stuff to be the organic you.
mhm. Absolutely.
Because a lot of us, and I said this to somebody the other day, a lot of us are making our plans for our lives based on the pains of our past.
Yes, ma'am.
We are making the plans for our life based on the pains of our past. So
Yes.
everything that we're doing is based off of a scar that we keep remembering from then, instead of what you say. You said do the work, right? Instead of me doing the work so that when I come into his presence, he can transform me so I can literally be who I am, breathless.
Yes. Yes. And able to breathe.
Mm.
We're not alive if we're not breathing.
Come on. We
Yes.
just exist. We just flowing around like it. I mean, we going through the motions. Real talk. We're really going through the motions.
Mhm. Yep.
We're really, and some of us, the truth be told, some of us look like we doing good, but we have literally just mastered
Yes.
functionality. That's
Yes.
what I call it. We've mastered functionality. I
Mhm.
know how to function in this atmosphere. I know how to function in this atmosphere. I know how to function around them, or I know how to function around these set of people. I know how to turn it on over here. But we are literally mastering functionality, but we're not mastering purity.
Yes. Yes.
So we know how to function, but we're not really who we are because we've become chameleons.
Mhm. Mhm.
And one of the greatest things I could have ever done was to fall in love with the authentic me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even the me that I didn't quite like. I felt that I had to fall in love with the authentic me.
Yeah.
Even while she is, listen to this, while she's becoming.
Yes.
I had to fall in love with who I be,
Yep.
even while I'm becoming.
Yep.
Oh God.
Yeah. I went through a period of being a mean girl,
Mm,
and I didn't I didn't notice what I was doing until one of my music colleagues brought it to my attention, And he told me, he said, most people never get to this part of you. They always meet that first part that's guarded and standoffish and looking at you side eye. But if they could cross that sea, then they would see, this happy, vibrant, person that I am. Why make people have to go through that?
Mm.
Especially if you are called to serve.
That's
And,
good.
and my calling to serve was not something that was pronounced to me. It was initiated and brought up through me. Like
Mm.
I just couldn't. I can't put it on you to get to know the part of me that I'm sent to you to give you.
Ooh.
I don't know if that's coming out right because I'm just kind of downloading this. What it's just what I'm thinking right now. It's not your responsibility to figure me out to get to what you need. No,
Mm.
it's my responsibility
Yes.
to be prepared and ready when I encounter you. So what you need from me is right there and accessible,
Oh
which
yeah.
means I had to figure out why I was acting like this. And it actually was a protective measure because I have fear of rejection, abandonment issues,
Mm-hmm.
feeling invisible, not feeling loved, all of those things that was holding this vibrant person back, I was protecting me from you. And that's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. But God is who I say
Mm-hmm.
I worship. God is who I say I love and adore. And if his spirit is in me, why am I living in this fear?
Mm.
Why? Why? So I really, when I say heavy lifting, it's heavy. If anybody is watching us that
Mm-hmm.
deals with rejection, with abandonment, I promise you the heavy lifting to fix that is so worth it because on the other side of that is complete
Mm.
freedom to be
Yeah.
for
It's true.
yourself and for
Mm-hmm.
everybody that you are meant to impact.
Mm-hmm. Because here's the thing, many of us don't realize we all always talk about addictions in the area of substance and sex and all that stuff. But some of us are addicted to protection. We have become so consumed with protecting ourselves from the what if, the protecting ourselves from the possibility, protecting ourselves so it don't happen, to
Yes.
the point where we have lost our ability to live
Mhm.
because we're everywhere that we go, we're addicted to protection. So everybody is a suspect.
Mhm.
Everybody has the potential to do what that wound from back then did. And that wound can be 20 years old, but everybody is suspect. And so when you talked about that mean girl, I went through that mean girl season. But that mean girl season kept me a wall up so that I could say, you won't be able to hurt me like the last person.
Right.
And it's like you said, somebody just put in the comment section, sometimes you got to unpack that mean girl.
Mhm.
You got to realize why she mean. Then you got to do the work so that she ain't mean no more, so that you can live. And not just for the people that you got to encounter, for you. Some of us
Mhm.
are missing out on living the fullness of our life because we stuck in that mean season.
Yes.
Can't nobody come in your space. Can't nobody compliment you. Can't nobody celebrate you. Can't nobody support you because can't nobody get close to you.
Mhm.
But then you always have the you have the story, nobody supports me. Well, they can't support you because I mean, every time you come, they come around, you're nasty.
Yep.
And so, and when you talked about that whole pouring, you shouldn't have to dig through things for me to give you what the Lord told me to give to you.
Right.
If I'm supposed to pour into you, it's not your job to take the lid off.
Exactly.
It's not your job to come and screw the lid off the bottle if I'm called to pour to you anyway.
Right.
That's like, what do you want them to do? And then you want
Right.
to know why people not coming or
Yep.
why people not receiving. You've put that wall up. It
Mm.
made it difficult
Mhm.
to receive.
Yep.
And
Yes.
so Coach Leslie, so now that we have embraced who we are, how do we face the challenges on the journey of becoming? Now I've mastered who I am here, but now I'm entering this season of becoming the next part of me. How do I now embrace that my movement is fluid? Who I am now is not it. That's not the finality of it. So I
Mhm.
now have to enter a season of becoming. So now how do I now embrace, after I tunnel through all of this, I'd have mastered her right here, but she still need to keep growing.
Mhm.
So how
Mhm.
do I turn the corner and keep becoming?
It helps to have a plan, and if you can see it, if you can
Mm,
visualize yourself doing a thing, one of the main things that I do is I write down. I literally have a notebook and a pen right here next to me right now. In some instances, I have a pencil for changes because
mm,
change is inevitable. And I make it a habit of seeing the purpose in everything.
mm,
I don't want to miss something that you say or something that's in this chat that said that lands with me because I will forget it. So I'm prepared.
mm-hmm,
In my preparedness, I make a plan. I research. We are way past the information age. It's just like all you got to do is speak it in the air and Alexa will pick it up and put it in your Google search. That's just where we are. So find out what it is that you like to do, that you want to do, that you're called to do, and figure out how that's done. There are everything that will be done has likely already been done.
mm-hmm.
We're just moving it forward
Yeah.
in a more elevated way. So if it's a vocation that you like I'm a singer. Most people know me only as a singer, but if you really know me, you know there's way
Mm,
more to that. It's like the difference between being in the music industry and being in the music business. That's two different types of things. So I have moved from being performative in the music industry to being a professional in the music business, which
mm-hmm,
means I'm reading, I'm writing, I'm taking classes, I'm jumping in webinars. I am learning all that I can about my move, where I need to move to, and then I do it. I do it. I put myself in the spaces where that can be done. I'm a certified life coach now. I was trying to just launch this coaching business and everybody's just going to come to me for certified coaching. Well, that's kind of not the way to me. But I had to try it to figure that out.
mm-hmm,
Once I tried it, it didn't yield the results, and I'm just giving a practical way of doing things.
mm-hmm,
It didn't yield the results I wanted. I fused it into my vocal coaching. I fused it into my artist development. I even fused it into my publishing administrating job. Like I'm Coach Lesley. If you don't want to answer, don't come to me. If you're not ready to change, don't come to me. I'm solutions oriented. But these are all the things I found out about myself working on myself. So
mm,
take those things. You can write it down so you can see it. I also write things down to get it out of my body,
yep,
out of my head, out of my, and there's even a theory about the connectivity of writing with a lead pencil. Like it's it's all kinds of stuff out here. But just get it out of you and then you can see it. The Bible says, write the vision, make it plain so you can run with it. That's what the book says. So just have a plan for yourself. And once you get through all the minutia that you think is you and
mm,
you clear out, you forgive. In instances where you can't find forgiveness, you release
mm,
it out of you.
yeah,
You allow the spirit to shore up those soft spaces in you. Then it's just all about execution at that point.
mm-hmm. And so as we're releasing and we're forgiving and now we're executing, I know I'm not the only person. Once I've done all of that, sometimes you still fall back and you fall back And then sometimes you fall back and you're like, did you really just do that? Or you really you're guarded again, or you're this again, and you fall back. And so help somebody that's watching that is repeating a place they came out of and now have to be in that place again. How do they give them themselves grace for the repeat?
Glad you asked that because I'm the queen of that in my life. Uh, it's about learning the lessons, applying the lessons.
Mm-hmm.
You will make mistakes sometimes. You're human.
Mm-hmm.
You're not invincible. Allow yourself to once again embrace that space and just be honest with yourself. I messed up. What did I mess up? Okay, so I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. It's better for me. It's good of me to just tell you to just stop doing what you're doing. And yeah, you get to that, but you got to know what you need to stop doing. So it's all about self assessment every time. Even in education,
Mm-hmm.
we're tested. We take tests. We cannot matriculate until we pass tests. So you're
Mm-hmm.
going to pass tests. And all you do is be gentle, be kind to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Change your internal dialogue. That verbiage that's going on in your head. That's why I didn't you have not heard me say the word good and bad.
That's right.
I said good, different, and whatever
Well, what
else.
else? Mm-hmm.
Because I don't I decided to not put a negative connotation on anything that I do in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Man can judge it all they want to, but this is me. This is
Mm-hmm.
who I am, and I am good.
Mm-hmm.
God made me good. I just have to get to that good. So I have to, in order to stop repeating cycles, first of all, you got to be aware that you're repeating a cycle
That part.
and knowing what that cycle is.
Mm-hmm.
Get educated on that stuff. Now I'm here. I go again, being transparent. I had this season of my life where I was meeting men and dating men, and then finding out they were married. And by the time I found that out, I was emotionally invested. So I was just like, "Well, I'm here now." That is nowhere in my lexicon of what I want for my life at
Mm-hmm.
all. But it was a cycle. And I left my job one day because I was just crying at work, and I was just trying to figure out, like, God, I don't like feeling this way. And before I knew it, I ended up in the Barnes and Noble down at the harbor.
Okay.
And y'all know I don't drive. So apparently I took the subway down there. I don't know. I ended up in the bookstore. And in the self-help section, there was a book that was titled, Will He Really Leave Her for Me?
Mm.
Written by a Christian psychologist. And she gave the examples of the the woman's perspective
Mm-hmm.
all the way through the outcomes, the
Mm-hmm.
man's perspective
Mm-hmm.
all the way through the outcomes, and the wife's perspective all the way through the outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
That book changed who I was. I was being selfish. I was being greedy. I was being uncaring of other people for self gratification,
Mm.
knowing that it was only going to last a moment. And I didn't care because I didn't want people in my space long term anyway.
Wow.
So, sir, you were a convenience for me while I'm professing my love to you. What that has to make your brain jiggle because it
Mm-hmm.
made mine jiggle. But when I realized that that's what I was doing, I asked God to teach me to be better about my relationship skills. And He showed me why. Some of
Mm.
that had to do with my mother and my grandmother and my great grandmother, the things that were passed through them. They didn't do the things that I did, but they felt the pains that I
Mm-hmm.
felt. They felt the rejection that I felt. They went through no affirmation that I was dealing with. I realized I was a chain breaker.
Yes.
And once I accepted that, I tackled everything in my life like that. If I do it and I see it back here, time to change it. And my brother Deshaun Edwards is in here, and he knows me like a book. He know I'm telling the honest to God truth because he said, "Sis, okay now, you know,
Yeah.
it's that kind of just you got to get through all that stuff before you can even begin to give grace to yourself."
Mm.
So then you can move it forward. And now if I'm somewhere, men don't even talk to me now. I promise you. But they speak to me, but they keep it moving. They don't zero in on me
Got you.
because that neediness is not radiating from me. That loneliness is not radiating from me.
Mm.
That just low self-esteem is not radiating from me. So now they handle me a little differently. And now if I encounter someone that I have a compatible energy with, I survey all I need to survey and decide, nope, not doing that, because that's not who I am.
Got you.
That's not who I am. I know I took the long road, but that's
No,
I
no,
hope
this
that
is
makes sense.
literally no. Literally, you're helping literally. And that's why I said this is not scripted. We literally flow because many people won't be real about a journey. Many
Mhm.
people won't be real that the why almost killed me.
Mm,
Many people won't realize that the why almost made me lose my mind.
mhm,
The why, while I was trying to figure out the why was the thing that was destroying me. The
mhm,
why was the one that kept dragging me back. The why was
mhm.
the root of it. And so that's why I was like, no, talk about, because until we find the why and until we heal, and go and understand the why, I can't get delivered if I don't understand why I'm doing it.
Yes, absolutely.
I can't get free if I don't understand why I'm doing it, because as long as I don't understand the why, I'll make an excuse and say this is just me.
Yep.
But if I realize my why, I'll realize it's not just me.
Mhm,
It was a seed planted
mhm.
that's been taking root
Yep.
as I become. So
Mhm,
I've now been taking some of the DNA from the seed and
mm.
it's been contaminating my authentic DNA.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and so, but if I find out that why, I go dig up that why, I have now uprooted what was actually polluting my freedom to be me.
Mhm.
And now I deal with it, I dispel it, and then I can change my language. You know what I'm saying? You
Absolutely.
said something, then I can change my language. I always tell my mentees, you have to have the dialect of destiny.
Yes.
You cannot have, I tell them all the time, you cannot have the verbiage of your past. You got to have the dialect of destiny. Because
Yes.
as long as you speak of where you were, you'll never get where you need to be.
Yes.
So sometimes I have to speak a language I don't understand yet
Mhm.
until I learn how to translate that language to make sense. So
Yes.
sometimes I'm speaking an affirmation I really don't even understand,
Mhm.
but I'm determined I won't relive
Yes.
what I already experienced, what I've been talking. I won't relive that one. So what you said, I'm getting in the books, I'm going to the classes, I'm reading things, I'm journaling my affirmations, and I'm writing this and everything because I want to train my mind to
Mhm.
no longer stay where I was, but to now take a journey to where I'm becoming,
Yeah,
a journey to where I'm
if I
going.
can add this,
Yeah.
you and we talking about when you talk about journaling, a lot of times people assume that it's limited to just affirmations or just
Mm-mm.
writing down good times.
No God.
You have to write down the things that hurt. You
Mm-hmm.
have to write down the things that you would never tell anybody else,
Ooh,
because you
yes.
gotta get it outside of you so you
Mm-hmm.
can see it. You have to be honest and see it. You
Mm-hmm.
have to see it, and it's okay. That's part of healing. because
Yes.
you have to know a thing before you can even touch it to heal it.
Mm.
You gotta know it so you can get the healing in the right space.
Yeah.
Every space is not conducive to the type of healing that you may need. Don't despise therapy. Make sure you get the right kind of therapy.
That part.
If it's the kind of therapy that requires a prescription, you need to go to the psychiatrist instead of the psychologist. I'm just being honest. Like,
Yeah, you gotta know where you be.
you have to know where you be, and let's stop shouting over and being emotional in church and thinking a dance is going to cure. Praise to me is what I do in celebrations of what God's done for me, and it's also sometimes God come get me. That's kind of how that is to me.
Uh-huh.
God, come get me because you know I'm just pushing through right now. Help me, help me, help me.
Mm-hmm.
When my words can't do it, I let my feet do it. And I don't even do that much anymore, but I know what that what that is. I know what that is, but it's part of your healing. So it's not just stating the good things. You got to talk about the bad things too that are in you in a safe space.
Oh yeah, but that's all a part of what you said. You got to see it. But
Mhm.
sometimes we only want to see the good.
Mhm.
We only want to see what's about to take me to the nations, or we only want to see what's going to make me smile every day. But sometimes I have to see and face
Mhm.
what is actually tearing me apart.
Mhm.
I have to see and face the very thing that's making me question whether or not I can, making me question. Because full transparency, I tell people all the time, just because you see me fluidly doing it, don't mean that I think I'm qualified to do it. So let me help somebody. Just because you see me fluently operating in my grace, don't mean I always feel like I deserve to be standing there.
Yes.
Don't mean I always feel confident when
Mhm.
I stand.
Mhm.
I'm nervous at people that will say, I knock it out the park every time. I kill it every time. I'm nervous because in my full transparency, while you may see Dr. Vaughn is doing this, that, and the third, my journey to getting there, I'm nauseous. I gotta go to the bathroom. I done called them multiple times. I done called my pastor and said, never mind, I don't feel like doing this. I done called my pastor and talk. I don't think I can release this word. I'm not doing this. I'm not showing up. This is gonna be too many people here. I don't want to do this. I go through all of that because the fullness of it is like I said to you before we got on, there's certain parts of me in this season I am still learning.
Yes.
And so they make me so terrified
Mhm.
because I tell people all the time, I am a Baptist born and bred.
Mhm.
I was born on the pew of the Baptist in the Baptist church. I got the Holy Ghost at age 14 and didn't understand what I got because
Mhm.
the church I was in didn't understand what I got.
Mhm.
So I was a weird child with an old oil. I done got filled with the Holy Ghost. I'm shouting and they don't do all this.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with me. So I suppress it. I put her in a box. I learned how to
Mhm.
functionality. I learned how to master functioning where they wanted me to be
Mhm.
until I got to a level where it was now time for me to operate and pieces of this apostolic girl starts popping out.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out what's going on here because this is not me. What is happening here? And then now, fast forward to here, I'm fully embracing. I done yielded to God and gave him a full yes this time. Because
Mhm.
case in point, I know some of y'all gave God yes the first time. I gave him a half a yes. And then I gave him a three-quarter of a yes. We in full transparency. I gave God a full yes this time. And now the Lord has literally been shifting me to places, even in the spirit realm, I don't understand.
Mhm.
But I got to be obedient and go. And
Mhm.
so when you're talking about being becoming, sometimes you got to be and become somebody you don't even understand yet. And I am learning as I
Mhm.
go. I am
Yes.
literally learning as I go. That is one of the most fearful things is to go and don't know how you going to go.
'Cause
But
we wanna
you even
control
gotta,
everything. We
yeah,
wanna control everything. We wanna know the end from the beginning. We're not God.
no. And so that's why I just go. So if he say go, I go. And sometimes I still struggle. Full train. I sometimes I still struggle. I'll create a sermon in my Baptist tradition. I will create a sermon in my introduction, my 3 points, and a conclusion, and I'm gonna take it to the cross. I'm a Baptist, boom.
Mhm, mhm.
And my cousin is on here. Yes, I am the blueprint. My I, but here it is. Probably over the last 6 months, though I create a wonderful manuscript, sometimes I can't even get past reading the scripture.
Mhm.
Or sometimes I get to the first point and then I lose all the rest of it because God takes me a whole nother way. And I'm still struggling because He like, one day you just gonna do it my way. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But in full transparency, I still prepare
Mhm.
like my tradition,
As
like
you
my
should.
structure.
You should. My one of my bosses, Darren Atwater of Soulful Symphony, I don't read music, but he's allowed me and offered me, and I accepted to be a principal singer with Soulful Symphony. Thank you, Jesus, because that was on my bucket list. And I get so nervous when I'm in rehearsals because I'm in a room full of trained singers who can do this thing, but I have this book in my hand. I have the sheet music in my hand. He said to me, he said, "Lesley, the book is a guide.
Mhm.
It's a guide. It's there in case you need it." So being prepared with that 3 points and a closing, that's great. It's a guide.
Mhm.
What we do is we flow spiritually and we feed off of and go where the spirit tells us to go. And if we go too far and we just need to come back, that guide is right there to
Mhm.
point you right back. So I definitely can identify with that
Yeah.
from a creative standpoint. It's just a guide. But that gives God order. That
Yeah.
that shows God and ourselves that we are prepared. We are
Mhm.
prepared. We give him something to work with.
Yeah.
How I look at it.
Yeah. I agree. And so listen, Coach Lesley, before we get off here, is it any last words that you could just, any last nuggets you can actually share with those that are watching on this whole journey of being and becoming, that they can just take and nibble on as they continue on their journey?
I want to encourage you all to delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desire of your heart.
Hmm.
The words "I want" denotes lack. The
Mm,
words "I need" denotes lack. The word "desire"
mm.
next with the who I am
Oh,
in God.
that's
And don't worry about the discipline of the thing, because sometimes we want to just do it right all the time. Don't focus on the discipline. Allow the desire to drive the discipline.
good. God, that allow the desire to drive the discipline. Y'all heard that? Allow the desire to drive the discipline. So listen, some of my team is on here. So we can't keep saying I want and I need. We gotta start saying I desire. We got new words. We gotta start saying I desire because I want and I need denotes lack. And we're not lacking anything. We have to learn how to start saying I desire, or the desires of my heart. And that, yeah, I love it. The allow desire to drive the discipline. Oh, I'm gonna be stuck on that one. I am. And so, sis, I thank you, Coach Lesley, for coming and hanging out with us right here at the MOY with Dr. Vaughn, which is the More of You, where we own our story with authenticity and boldness. And so I'm excited. Thank you all for coming to join us for this. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, share this because somebody else is going to need to know that their desire. drives their discipline. I'm gonna be hopping on that one. And so until next time, we love you, and we'll see you back here for the next episode of the MOY with Dr. Vaughn. Have an amazing evening, everyone.
Bye.